Okay, at this stage we are about 3 minutes into a stepped infusion. The material thickness is a laminate stack of carbon that's 100 thousandths of an inch thick, and this is a significantly large part, 7 feet long, and a lot of geometry. And you can see the plumbing set up for the stage or for the stepped infusion. We're currently pulling vacuum on these two lines, and once the resin has reached that inlet path, we'll disconnect the vacuum and begin to introduce resin to the mold at that 1/3 section. Continue the infusion on up to the 2/3 section, which will have the vacuum on it until we reach that point. Then we'll pull the vacuum off, introduce resin at that stage, and finish out the nose. So let's see where our vacuum and our resin flow is at this stage. We're approximately 5 minutes into the infusion, and we've got a quart pail with a gallon already mixed. This is Endurance 4505A toughened epoxy with 4506B hardener. So at the 1/3 stage, we'll do a little more of the video. Okay, at this point we're right at 22 minutes into the infusion, and the part has infused approximately a quart of resin, and we're about 1/4 of the way there. We're still getting good travel with the resin towards the vacuum source, and the material that you're seeing at these inlet ports is Infusion. It's a extremely coarse flow media inside of a flow jacket. Really nice stuff to work with. It does not imprint the part, but provides an extremely large footprint to deliver resin to the part. So as soon as this resin reaches our taped off sections in the Infusion, we'll remove the vacuum from these inlets, move the vacuum to the next pair of inlets, which are up at the nose, and begin to introduce resin at the second point of our stepped infusion. Be back in just a few minutes. We have reached the 70-minute mark, well past the first cut section of the stepped infusion, and we're working our way towards the second cut step. And the resin has actually racetracked a little bit along the bottom of the mold up to the Infusion. My guess is where the molds are bolted together, there's a little gap there that provided a real easy flow path for the resin, and now it's working its way out to the sides, creating this very interesting bell-shaped flow path. But I don't really have any concerns that everything's going to wet out exactly the way we wanted it to. The first gallon of mixed material at 70 minutes was consumed by the part, well within the 200-minute pot life of the 4505, 4506 Endurance resin. And I've mixed an additional half gallon that we've put into our flow pots here and here, topping those off to make sure we don't run out of resin. And we still have the initial flow line at the back of the mold. There's about 2 inches of resin in that pot, and that's still open, feeding some resin to the part. It's not flowing very fast at all, if it's flowing any, so we'll probably clamp that off here when we get ready to transition our flow to the front Infusions, and then we'll finish out the part to the nose. So we'll be back with you as soon as we get some of that stuff taken care of. And at this point we're at 80 minutes into the infusion, and I've got a little light here so you can see down into the bottom. There's actually a teed off section of ink infusion that runs all the way up into the nose of the part, and we're already starting to feed resin that direction. We've got an interesting bell curve once again as we reach the final stage of the stepped infusion. And once we see resin beginning to get close to these two vacuum ports, then we'll remove the vacuum from those ports and begin to introduce resin there to finish out the nose. So we'll be back with you as soon as that takes place. Well, at 100 minutes we are all but the last 7 inches of the very nose, and we did have one little leak in this tape seam we attempted to fix, probably unsuccessfully. Hopefully it's better. But 2 gallons of resin and 120 minutes, and the entire part is fully infused. Just the way we planned it.